Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Notes to Self podcast. I am your host, Rachel Huynh, and today we are diving into a topic that may hit close to home for some of you. I know that it does for me, and it's the topic of how to maintain your independence while being in a relationship so that you don't lose yourself in the process. Have you ever looked in the mirror and realized that you don't even recognize yourself anymore? That was me. Somewhere along the way, I lost my independence, my passions, and my sense of self in my relationship. In today's episode, we are talking about how to maintain your individuality through hobbies, friendships, and a deep self-awareness so that you don't make the same mistakes that I did. This topic came up as I was reflecting on my relationship with Noah, and if I have to be honest, my previous relationships too. With Noah, I realized that our relationship was the strongest when we were both embracing our unique identities. At the time that I met him, I was deeply immersed in the fitness world. I was a personal trainer and nutrition coach, and I was also competing in bodybuilding while also being transparent with my whole journey on YouTube and Instagram and sharing and expressing myself in that way, as well as partaking in things like gymnastics from time to time. Noah and I led pretty distinct lives, and our individual passions enriched our connection when we came together. The problem arose somewhere along the way when I began to lose these parts of myself through an identity crisis. When I no longer aligned with the fitness industry anymore, my self-esteem and my self-worth were shaken. Leaving my 9-to-5 job also left me without a role in society and without a purpose. And I wasn't really making the effort to build my own social circle and my connections or even maintain the friendships that I already had. I had no passion for anything anymore, and I lost myself. Noah and I often talked about the traditional roles in a relationship and the masculine and the feminine energy, where the masculine is known as the doer and the feminine energy is the energy that allows and receives. And at the time that I met him, I was actually very hyper independent, and I was scared that if I allowed him to do things for me to the capacity that he wanted, it would strip me of my autonomy. Ironically, in trying to embrace this idea of my more feminine side, I let him handle things from groceries to finances to planning, and in doing so, I actually lost myself more. I started feeling incapable, unfulfilled, and resentful. From there, that is where everything started to fall apart, because the less that I invested in myself, the more that I relied on Noah's attention to fill the emptiness. I wasn't choosing myself, yet I was upset that he wasn't choosing me either. I became so fixated on what was missing in our relationship: quality time, reassurance, validation, when the truth was, I abandoned myself. The more that I did that, the more that I resented myself and our relationship as well. I didn't feel chosen because I had already stopped choosing myself. Our lives became enmeshed. I adopted his friends as my own. I focused solely on his interests and lost my own sense of my own interests and individuality. I became a shell of a person who only knew how to exist within the relationship, and I didn't know how to exist on my own independently anymore. This spiraled into more arguments, more fights, and if I have to be honest, I truly felt like I was losing it and going crazy. There would be days where I would just be crying on end or crying straight away when I wake up in the morning, and I really think that was a new low for me, and I've had a couple friends go as far to say that those were symptoms of depression, and I won't label myself, and I will just say that I experienced symptoms of depression. It got bad enough to the point where Noah and I mutually decided to take a break from each other. and take some healthy space. That period became an initiation for change for me and a chance to stop playing victim and rediscover myself. Since then, I have been pouring my energy back into myself, engaging in creative hobbies, rebuilding my social circle, practicing self-love, and honestly just trying to be someone that I enjoy being around again. If I didn't like who I had become, how can I expect Noah or anyone else to? The greatest thing in the world is to know how to belong to oneself. When I realized that I had lost myself in the relationship, I knew that I needed to take a step back and start reconnecting with who I was outside of it. And honestly, the thing that's helped me the most, hobbies. I cannot stress enough how important it is to pursue things outside of your relationship that fuel you, that stretch you, that keep you engaged with life beyond your partner. I started pouring myself into things that excited me again. I got into short form content creation. I picked up the podcast again and started creating episodes. And you know what? I even thought about taking up pole fitness because I thought, why the hell not? The main thing is that the more that I reconnected with myself, the more I felt like myself again. And you know what? I actually began to enjoy my own company. Here's the thing. Hobbies aren't just for staying busy. They're how we reconnect with ourselves. They nourish every part of us, mind, body, spirit, emotions. And they're our soul's way of saying, hey, this is who you are. And if we don't intentionally cultivate all four, we'll always feel like something is missing and look to our partner to fill the void. And that is how we lose our independence. Let's break this down, because if you don't already have hobbies that you love, this is your chance to start. So in metaphysical teachings, the self is made up of 4 distinct bodies that, when together, form our complete essence. So you first have the physical body, where hobbies will be based around movement and action. Then you have the intellectual body, where the hobbies will be mentally stimulating and focused on learning new skills. Then you have the emotional body, where the hobbies are focused on creativity and self-expression. And then you have the spiritual body, where the hobbies are based on inner growth and connection. And I wouldn't say that you have to have a different hobby for each of these bodies because, in adult life, that can be much. Who has the time? But the thing is that hobbies are multidimensional, meaning they can satisfy more than one part of ourselves. So, for example, things like gymnastics, cheer, rock climbing, these are sports that satisfy the physical body of ourselves, but also can satisfy the intellectual sides of ourselves because it's mentally stimulating through us having to learn and acquire more skills and constantly improve. Creative hobbies like video editing, poetry, painting, writing. Did I already say video editing? Anyway, that can satisfy the emotional body because it's creative. It can satisfy the spiritual sides of ourselves because it brings joy into our life and sparks inner growth. And then it also satisfies the intellectual sides of ourselves at the same time because we're learning new skills day by day. Engaging in hobbies not only brings us a lot of joy and happiness, but it also gives us confidence. It helps us rediscover ourselves and also reinforces our sense of self. When you find hobbies to pour yourself into outside of your romantic relationship, you get a better sense of who you are, what you do, and how you relate to others in the world. Knowing who you are and maintaining your individuality through this way really helps to reduce the risk of losing yourself in a relationship. Just because your partner might not share the same interest in your hobby as you doesn't mean that you should stop putting effort into it. If you love painting, then keep painting. Don't just stop because your partner's not into it. Keep nurturing it because that's your outlet. You can also increase your chances of meeting and connecting with other people who share your same interest in that hobby. Because as humans, connection is so important and really impacts the quality of our life. And I don't think it's fair to rely or depend on your partner to be your one and only source to provide that for you. That leads me to my next thing that has really helped me strengthen and rediscover my independence, which is maintaining strong friendships and building your own social circle. Listen, I know that this stuff sounds really basic, but as humans, we all know what we should do, but we don't always do what we know. Through the struggles and difficulties of these last few months, the pain has turned into avenues of love by creating stronger friendships with people who I know will support me outside of any relationship that I could have. And this time to myself has really reminded me of my capability to build my own social network and not have to rely on my partner with his social network with people who might not even fully align with me. I've had the blessing of having some really great conversations with like-minded individuals simply just by reaching out and trying to build a connection and build a friendship. And you guys know who you are if you are watching this. Oftentimes we forget that just because we get into a relationship doesn't mean that we should suddenly stop maintaining these connections, especially if they are nurturing you into the person that you want to be. Again, your partner is an important person, but they shouldn't be your only person. So make sure that you spend time with your family, with your friends, and anyone else who is a source of a meaningful connection to you. Independence means having a life that isn't solely centered around your partner. And something that I'm getting better at is scheduling regular catch-ups with my own friends, or at least having a call with one of my friends during the week. At the end of the day, independence is about knowing who you are outside of the relationship. Take some time to reflect on your personal values, your beliefs, and your identity, because your relationship should enhance you. It shouldn't define you. And this is done through cultivating a stronger sense of self, which is the third thing that has really helped me reclaim my independence. The way that I've been cultivating a stronger sense of self is kind of a roundup between the hobbies and maintaining strong friendships and a strong social circle. These things give me a stronger sense of self, and things like journaling also helps you cultivate a stronger sense of self, especially when you can get in touch with your own thoughts, ideas, and personal values. But the thing that has been really crucial for me developing a stronger sense of self is time alone. The decision for Noah and I to go on a break has been one of the best decisions that we could have ever made, because it's given me the room and the space to actually spend time in solitude. And that has actually been a key factor for my own personal growth. Through it, I truly feel like I've gained my life back. A lot of people can get this mixed up with loneliness too. And although loneliness and solitude kind of seem similar on the surface, their essence is completely different. So loneliness comes from a place of lack. You're seeking external validation, and there's a void to be filled. With solitude, it's a choice. You use it to reflect and recharge and reconnect with yourself. It's when you enjoy your own company and use it to grow, to create, or just to simply exist. Loneliness seeks to be filled from others, while solitude is being filled from within. And solitude isn't about isolating yourself either. It's finding the right balance between independence and togetherness. What solitude offers is a chance for emotional discovery, because the alone time with yourself lets you explore ideas and passions without any external influence. It also gives you a chance for an emotional recharge, because you're able to take a break from the social connections, and that in turn is going to help you manage stress as well. Solitude also sparks creativity and leads to new ideas and solutions. So, with that being said, Here are 5 practical tips that you can use to help maintain your independence while in a relationship. Number 1 is prioritizing personal time. Make sure that you allocate time for activities that you want to enjoy independently. This reinforces your sense of self and then also helps bring fresh experiences back to the relationship when you reconvene with your partner. 2, set boundaries. Speak up, okay? Communicate your needs and your limits clearly to your partner because setting healthy boundaries will actually prevent the enmeshment between you two and also promote mutual respect. It is really easy to lose your independence when you merge your life too much with your partner. You don't need to hang out with their friends. You don't need to do every single thing that they're doing or do every activity together. You can have agency over your own life, and boundaries helps prevent codependency. 3, pursue personal goals. Continue working on your own individual aspirations. Having a shared vision with your partner is great, but you should never forget the vision that you have for yourself outside of the relationship. And it can actually be really inspirational for each other to see how the other is winning and progressing towards their own individual goals. 4, maintain social connections. Make sure that you hang out with your friends and your family outside of your relationship because a diverse social connection offers a lot of perspective and support. And even if it's 2 people that you have outside of your relationship, make sure you strengthen those connections. Schedule hangouts, FaceTime them, or even just send them a reel that made you think of them. Show your people that you love and care for them, and they'll do the same for you. 5, practice self-reflection. Regularly engage in self-reflection through assessing your thoughts, your feelings, and your goals. Practices like meditation and journaling are really great for introspection, and you can even do shadow work if you really want to get to know yourself, if you're into that. But that can be its whole other topic for another podcast episode. Your independence is a cornerstone of a fulfilling life and healthy relationships. Through engaging in hobbies, understanding self-differentiation, maintaining strong friendships, and also valuing solitude, you maintain your individuality. Remember, a relationship should be 2 whole people coming together, not 2 halves seeking to be completed. Thank you for joining me on this introspective journey. And if this episode resonated with you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And if you have ever lost yourself in a relationship, feel free to let me know. Send me a DM or leave a comment because I would really love to hear your guys' story. Until next time, keep nurturing the independence within you and embracing your unique self. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.